back to Forestry Tech. Our first scene brings us to a muddy highway in rural Indonesia. A heavy-duty tow truck, designed to rescue others, finds itself buried axle deep in the sludge. The massive rig, weighing close to 30 tons, completely blocks traffic for over 15 hours. You can see local workers scrambling with makeshift tools, while a crowd gathers, phones out, capturing every slip and struggle. Keyword, stuck tow truck highway. Here, it's not just about horsepower, it's about patience, grit, and sometimes pure luck. Next, we head down a dirt path that barely qualifies as a road anymore. Deep ruts, sinkholes, and collapsed shoulders all caused by the endless pounding of heavy machinery hauling 80,000-pound loads day after day. Watch as a tanker truck edges forward, tires sinking several inches with each painful rotation. Drivers here aren't just steering, they're practically navigating quicksand. Keyword: road damage heavy equipment. It's a daily gamble where one wrong move can lead to hours, even days of recovery efforts. Steep inclines and loose gravel make for a dangerous combination. In this sequence, a fully loaded flatbed truck loses its balance on a downhill slope, toppling sideways in a slow-motion disaster that nobody could stop. You can almost feel the ground shake as tons of steel and cargo slam against the dirt. Keyword: overturned truck accident. Overturns like these aren't just about poor judgment sometimes. The road just gives up underneath you. Finally, we step back and take in the bigger picture. The relentless rain, the crumbling roads, the trucks battling not just physics but nature itself. Every driver out here knows these aren't just work routes, they're survival courses. Every journey could be the one where luck runs out. Our first scene shows a group of drivers and mechanics fashioning a recovery plan with nothing but chains, timber beams, and pure determination. A 40-ton dump truck, buried nose first in mud, refuses to budge. But with hand-built ramps, reinforced anchors, and a lot of sweat, the team slowly inches the beast back to solid ground. Keyword: makeshift heavy equipment rescue. Out here, innovation isn't optional, it's survival. Recovery work is never a one-person job. In this next clip, watch how 5 operators driving 2 excavators, a skid steer, and a pair of heavy-duty tow trucks coordinate with precision. Every signal, every cable tension check, every movement is critical. One mistake, and you're looking at a chain reaction that could take down the whole recovery setup. Keyword: team-heavy recovery coordination. This is the purest form of teamwork under high stakes. Sometimes it takes a giant to save a giant. In this footage, a 100-ton crane is brought in to lift a flipped-over articulated hauler wedged between boulders. The ground barely supports the crane's weight. The rigging creaks under pressure, but slowly, inch by inch, the massive truck is righted. But beyond all the machines, chains, and gears, it's the human spirit that powers every recovery. Look at these crews, soaked to the bone, caked in mud, sometimes going 18 hours straight without rest, and yet they push through. For them, it's not just about getting the machine out, it's about never leaving a teammate, a load, or a job unfinished. But beyond all the machines, chains, and gears, it's the human spirit that powers every recovery. Look at these crews, soaked to the bone, caked in mud, sometimes going 18 hours straight without rest, and yet they push through. For them, it's not just about getting the machine out, it's about never leaving a teammate, a load, or a job unfinished. You've just seen some of the toughest recovery operations ever caught on camera, and that's why we at Forestry Tech are proud to bring you these real-world stories of perseverance and grit. If you respect the fight, the teamwork, and the willpower it takes to survive out there, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. At Forestry Tech, the machines might be big, but the human spirit, even bigger.